it was she hit her. She was so angry, and they had a close bond. Right. Right. And so, but she was a slave. And so there was still that I am over you. And when is that all that emotion was just building up in her, and she was like telling her to do something, or like giving her command. She was not being as compassionate as she thought the slave thought that she should have been, and she hit her. And that was just a breaking point. Like Washington was like, I can't have a slave that would hit my daughter. And the whole story, it was just redemption. Okay, yes, you hit my daughter, yes, but your father just died right beside me. I will give you that. Like, I will have compassion. I will feel your pain. And so that was pretty much my moral. And again, I had just gone to Washington, so I was like really hyped about that. So, yes.
I just was wondering, because my plan is to go all the way through with my boys unless the Lord changes something. But sometimes I struggle just with the thought, and there's a whole lot of things that I'm okay with them missing out on as far as public schools go. But there's sometimes that I just think about certain things. I mean, do you ever feel like you missed out, or do you feel like you had the friends and you had the whatever that you needed? Like, do you ever feel like you missed out, I guess, is
I
my
felt bad for the public schoolers. I did. I mean, the things that even the private schools, because I played volleyball for all 4 years, since 8th grade or 7th. So I was in the private school system just a bit. So I got to see their drama, and it just took away completely of their education. It was all like how you looked, how you dressed, if you dressed this way, and I didn't have that. I just walked up in my 9 siblings, and it was like, hey, I'm here. And so that was really neat to see public schoolers. I mean, I have some public school friends, and I don't know. Friends-wise, I had plenty. I had 11 great friends. I don't need 100. I don't need 100 acquaintances. They're not friends. They'll turn on your back in an instant. I'm not saying that about everyone, but normally it's just, hey, you go to school with me, I'm gonna hang out with you. And you're forced to. We weren't forced to hang out. And we did, not every challenge group does this, but we did like girls' night all the time. So at 13, I was not in the CC program. My 13th birthday, my mom actually prayed, please bring Makenna friends. My 16th birthday was like, please send them all away. Seriously, she's like, you cannot go to another thing. Like, you're done. Like, I remember my mom saying, like, yeah, if she wants to go do something, she doesn't really have a whole lot of friends right now. She can do whatever she wants. And she's like telling me, you can't do anything. Pick like one thing a week. And so that's really, again, I do get what you're saying. The people bash homeschooling, like, they don't have friends, they don't know how to be social, they don't know how to, they miss out on sports, they miss out. See, you have school 1 day a week. You work around that. I traveled, I went to nationals, I did a lot of things while I was in CC. And I was able to keep up. Sometimes, again, you're the parent, you're the teacher, you choose what your child does. Yes. So during volleyball, I went to nationals, I remember I couldn't do a couple things. That was okay. Miss Curry was like, it's your mom's decision. And so that was really neat to be able to, I was probably able to do some more than the private and public schoolers were able to do.
You said during what now?
Say that again?
During what?
Volleyball.
Oh, so who did you play volleyball with?
West Florida Baptist.
Okay.
So I went with them, and hopefully, I don't think I missed out on anything. So.
I just wanted to know about your trip to Alaska. Who'd you go with? And how did your parents let you go?
I went with my mom, dad, and Solomon, which is our baby.
Okay.
So that was really neat.
Add on to that. Tell them the choice that was given to you for your senior.
On my 18th birthday, they gave me the cruise, and they said you can choose to go to Cozumel with a friend, or you can go to Alaska with just us. Like, Cozumel was sort of the whole family and a friend, or Alaska with just my parents and the baby brother, and I was like, how is that a decision? And because it was just like, my parents, I don't know. Even though she didn't teach me, it was just, I was able to do it.
Thank you, McKenna.
I wasn't like, I'm gonna get off stage now. I said an embarrassing thing.
You're in trouble.
I'm just sort of making up for what I said. So, I mean, like, it wasn't like she was, like, on, like, always in my room, making sure I did it. Like, it wasn't just, like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What?
I'm crying now. You know.
But, that was just really, I don't know, we just have a very neat bond between my parents. My dad is more like, he has taught me so much, even though he hasn't been, like, teaching me, like, all my subjects, but we have been able to, I mean, primarily, he teaches me how to debate. He teaches me, okay, he doesn't actually tell me things. He doesn't like, okay, you should believe this. He's sort of like, well, this is what I believe, sort of. He actually doesn't tell me what he believes sometimes. He'll just like, yeah, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And I have to, sometimes I argue things I don't believe because I just want to argue. But that's just me. That's what we just do. We argue a lot. Not bad, but, and then well, sometimes bad. But, and then my mom, it's just, I don't know, it's just a good bonding. You're able to spend time with your parents. In public schools, I don't think you're able to do that a whole lot. I've never been in the public school system. But what I've heard, it's just like, okay, again, your children are influenced by someone.
Yeah.
Those peers, those children in the public school system have way more influence over your kids than you do. It's just a fact. It's sort of like a tug of war game. They're winning. Even if it's a little 5-year-old and you are her parent, if that 5-year-old tells your child to go get that cookie, she's probably going to go get the cookie. And that's just a fact, unfortunately. And so as CC parents, you can decide, okay, who your children hang out with, what they do, how they learn, and that's a big part about CC is just having that community that you won't be tempted to go to the parties and the stuff that I was never tempted with. We always called it our bubble. We're always in a bubble and we're like, we like our bubble. And again, I've seen plenty of things, but I've seen it from my parents' point of view. And now that I'm able to defend what I believe, it's my own. And that's the whole thing of challenge, is when I began, it was more my parents' faith, it was more my parents. Just them telling me what to believe, and being able to debate my dad. Being able to, like, okay, I don't know about that, let's go to scripture and figure that out. I mean, we did that about something the other day. I was like, no, scripture doesn't say that. And, I mean, there's not a whole, like, we don't have a Bible course, we don't have NCC, but you are the parent, the Bible is integrated in everything. The whole purpose is God. I just had another thought. What question was I answering?
About did you miss out on anything? Is that what you're
There was
No.
another one.
It was about your choice to go on vacation.
Oh, right. And so my parents were able to, again, I value my parents, and I know that I'm going to college, and it's not going to be the same. And my parents, friends, the biggest thing I've learned through my social life, is that friends will leave you very quickly. Family will always be there.
Yes.
And that's something you need to get in your kid's head now. Because I know I struggled with it. Just, my dad always said, like, we are always going to be here. We're always going to, like, you can't really get rid of us at all. Your friends will leave you. And I've seen that over the years. They will leave you for reasons. And if your child is strong in the faith, they might leave you for that. And so that's hard to deal with, but you always have your parents to back you up. And I think that's something that CC has just like, okay, we do have friends. It's good to have friends. It's good to have social, but it's good to have good friends and Christian friends. The reason I'm going to a public college is I want to be grounded
Private.
in faith.
Private.
I do not want to be over in
You
that
said public.
private. I'm going to a private college because I want to be grounded in my faith. I'm not going to a public college because I don't want that temptation. My whole life is going to be temptation. My whole life I'm going to be in the real world. I'm not saying college isn't the real world, but I'm always going to be on the workforce, mission field, whatever I choose to do, there's always going to be that temptation. If I'm not grounded in what I believe now, I'm going to fail. And so that's the reason I'm choosing to go to a private Christian college, is because of that. And I want that. I know a lot of my friends are like, well, why would you want to go to a private Christian college when you're going to be faced with this all the time? Like, you have to deal with people that don't believe the same way you do. So that's the exact reason I'm going to a private Christian college, because I want to be grounded in what I believe. Sending me off, and again, I've heard people sending their children to public school because they want to be in the mission field. Maybe your kid's ready for that. Maybe, I don't know, that's up to you. But don't do that to your kids. Like, teach them how to defend their faith. Teach them they don't need to be the example yet. Let them grow and nurture them in the way that they need to go, and then you can send them out. And so, the reason I chose my parents is that I value, they're probably my closest friends. I always go to them. I value their wisdom. I value their authority over me. And my friends will be gone in 10 years. They won't. And so that's why I chose them. So, yes.
I have a daughter graduating from PCC, another one that's a junior there. And I went there years ago with my husband. The world has changed so much.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going into an environment where everything that you would experience in public college, you will experience there.
Right.
The difference is you have the backing of the administration.
Right.
You have chapel every day. You have truth being taught.
Mm-hmm.
They kicked out 46 people caught in the act
Wow.
of lesbianism.
Right.
This
Yes,
year.
I know that.
This year.
Their highest
So,
grade is there.
Let me tell you, there are going to be a lot of kids that don't believe the way you believe.
Right.
But you're going to be a light there, and you do have the backing of the administration, which is huge.
Yes. Yes.
Which is huge.
Yes.
So,
And I've seen.
It's quite.
Right.
If you think you're going to a little slice of heaven on earth.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think they have the highest rate of lesbians and gays there. But I had the scriptures backing me up there, and the teachers like, okay, in a public or public college, it's just accepted.
They need light and truth there just as much as they need.
Yes, and I agree. Yes, I do agree with that. So you had.
No, I was just amen.
Is there any other questions? Well, I'm actually looking into the engineering program. So I enjoy math. That's probably one of not my favorite, but I really enjoy it. My dad was an engineer as well, so I had that. He had, again, when I was younger, I didn't want to ask him questions because I knew he'd give me the college answer. I didn't want that. It was like 3 hours of conversation about like one problem. So I have had that, but I taught myself mostly. And I knew that was a struggle for most homeschoolers, like getting your math done. And I hated doing it over the summer because I always did it. And again, I had a tutor for the past. Not continuously, every week, but I did have someone helping me. But for the younger, most people can teach the younger grades. For the older grades, I taught myself most of it. But again, getting a tutor for your children is probably beneficial because math, teaching yourself is difficult. And so that, again, my mom, I think a couple years ago, she's like, I'm not helping you anymore. And that's okay. It wasn't her degree, but I could ask my dad, but I didn't want to. So I just taught myself mostly. finished more math credits than I needed. So that was neat. What do you mean by that? The memory math program? Well, I never went through it. I know my brothers did. Right. So I did. I helped them a little bit. But my mom would know more about that than I would. So, any other questions?
Allison, she resented not going to foundation.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh.
It's summer project, right? Timeline.
Oh, yeah. It's always in our car. What are you talking
Hey,
about?
McKenna, I don't really have a question, but I do want to say how important these tutors and directors are. I mean, I know everybody knows Leah Curry is amazing, but I really want to publicly thank her. If it weren't for her, I just don't think McKenna would be the person that she is, and I don't say that dramatically or lightly. We're pretty tough on our kids. In fact, yesterday, my Levi was making a basket and he missed, and I was like, man, you stink. And this girl's like, man, you're really tough on your kids. I'm like, well, why would I lie to them? Good job, you missed that basket. I mean, we lay it out there. And if McKenna's papers stunk, I told her so. And, you know, there was always Leah like, good job, McKenna. I mean, she was just always so encouraging. And, I mean, I think kids need both. But, I mean, I think one of the benefits of this program is having other awesome adults in your children's lives. Like I mentioned, you know, just like watching Vonica tie little Levi's shoe. That's little, but then Leah Curry meeting McKenna at 8 in the morning to go over her paper and to tell her, you know what, if you don't want to dual enroll, it's okay. That's huge. So anyway, I thank all the directors and all the people that pour into my children. You know, it's literally a village raising a child, and I can't do it myself. You know, God doesn't grow your arms and legs. He grows my body. I get fatter when I have babies. I don't know why God doesn't give us more limbs or more eyes, but he gave us lots of other people, and community being Troy's topic today. That's what community is. McKenna is not a sum total of Daniel Nelson Hartman. McKenna is a sum total of Leah Curry and Carla Cross and Rita Kukuk and all the people that have poured themselves into her. Wouldn't you agree?
I would definitely agree. It was, my mom is just one person, and she has her strengths and weaknesses. Miss Curry has her strengths and weaknesses. As a marriage, you normally will look for the opposites to balance each other out. That makes a good marriage. Your children's education is about the same. You have to have everything to actually, I mean, or your children are going to be lacking in some.
That's right.
And their strength is going to be in something else. You want that general education. You want, if you're not good at math, there might be a tutor that is good at math. I'm not saying that for everything, but the community in a whole is just so, it just feeds off of each other. Because I was able to ask, I mean, there's like different questions, and there's a lot of tutors there that are able to, and there are great Christian students there that we were able to feed off of. And so my first year, we had actually graduated, and he was just very smart. And we were able to feed off of, I was able to feed off of him. I really found my joy in logic, which is something I really love. Out of him, he was amazing at it. He taught the class sometimes, he was just that good. And I was able to feed off of him and learn off of him. I sort of felt it was crazy. But we did study groups, we did all of that, and I just sort of fed off of him. Again, we had a graduate last year, and her papers were amazing. I strove to be that good. If I hadn't had that, I would have just been okay with my papers. And again, I think for math, I was able to talk with the students. I was able to help them out with math a little bit. And so that they were able to feed off me. And I think just having the different, it's not all one grade. And I think that's the beauty of a one-room schoolhouse. And that's sort of what it was. Just being able to feed off of other people and their strengths and their weaknesses. And so I think that has definitely helped me as a student be able to feed off of other people, not just my mom or my dad.